So here we are again. Third part on this one, isn't it? So it's 3 o'clock afternoon on Sunday, the 18th of January, 2026. We were trying to see Rosamond, California, diary of the griever named John Weaver, which is me, Rosamond, California. So, first portion, I was going on a blithering. Second portion, trying to get a point across. And third one, we're coming to it, aren't we? People want one-sided, but they can't deal with everything else. There was a poll out there concerning about people learning history either from machines, from zeros and ones, or from human history, from people who have actually lived it and expressing their knowledge to other people to pass on. How about creations that people have made to describe, define, and express diversity, equality, and inclusiveness, all in the name of wokeness? Hence, live long and prosper. Stephen Miller was joked about from one of the independents out there, because Stephen Miller was putting his crap out there about the new Star Trek show of Star Trek Academy. Starfleet Academy, I'm sorry. I just watched the first 2 episodes of it. I'm still scratching my head. I'm a lifer. I'm 60 years old. I was old as Star Trek when it came out. Trek came out in September. In January. But still of 66. So I'm as old as Star Trek. Maybe older since it got published. Gene Roddenberry had a dream. And a lot of us fanatics, a lot of us Trekkies, Trekkers, and everybody else in between celebrated that for 60 years, coming up on it. We celebrated our differences, our inclusiveness, our diversity. We celebrated the universe being as such. We celebrated because we look at the universe and it is diverse. Unfortunately, when I keep hearing from ignorant assholes that don't know or don't care to know or just too damn scared to know. Miller's one of those times. He's one of those kind of guys. He wants to hide under his bed, thinking the universe is out to get him. He's afraid that all that diversity is scaring the crap out of him. He's afraid of it. He wants to use force against it. He would like to see empires. He would like to see empires in solidified uniforms, solidified patterns, robotic. He claims about, I don't know what he claims about anymore. He claims he hates people left and right. He had high school videos shown, and they're out there on the internet, still there, of what kind of a racist asshole he is, because he didn't like other people, didn't like the language differences. He thought they smelled funny, they were bad, they were this or that or this or that. Why do we have to have it in the first place? Why can't we just have it white? Because also white people smell bad and curse like crazy and insult people and hurt people. Like everybody else, it doesn't matter what skin color, it doesn't matter what your creed or color. We human beings have this tendency of beating up on people because we have our own egos to feed and we also have the resources we need. It's the only 2 things I figured out in life anyway, getting older. And keep studying about human history. Either through literature, which is diverse, which is wokeism maybe. Even Karl Marx was talking about it in a form and in fashion. He was writing about his books concerning about communism and socialism. And he wanted a classless society. He wanted one. There's a group of people who oversee other people, but everyone else is the same. no classes, no elitism, nothing. But they still get to be ruled by an oversight. But there shouldn't be any classes, but you're ruled by a small elite. Karl Marx was a weird man during those days. A lot of Europeans were starting to think about that damn crap when the book came out back in the late 1800s, 1900s, spilling all over the damn place. Even America got it. Well, we didn't buy into it totally. There were some people who actually thought about it. Communes were nice. You'd elect a leader to govern for a little bit, and then after that, go back into the working party. And everyone had to pull their own share. Okay, fine. But the whole world being that way? The world wasn't going to be that way. Because we would constantly fight over resources and ego. And we fought and died and bled for it. Especially for ego. If I look at it in a form and fashion. Much like we're trying to fight each other right now, one way or another. So to me it is. That's all it is. So for right now, I had Star Trek being insulted because Starfleet Academy was full of diversity, equality, and inclusiveness. If Miller ever saw Star Trek originally, he would have had a connection to it over this. Back in the 60s, they were talking about it. They were talking about it. They didn't want conformity. They wanted exploration. They wanted cultural understanding, education. He was looking at the more peaceful way of looking at the universe and dealing with it. Even if the universe would have to be the planet Earth itself, if we could have just accepted or just acknowledged that we had that, then it would have been problematic for everybody. Would have been. We grew up in an era where things were possible. We still dealt with Cold War situations. We still dealt with resource wars and egos all the damn time. But somebody was having a vision of what the future could be like. And it slowly grew. A lot of our engineers, a lot of people looked up to that show, to that ideology. But there are other people who are totally afraid of it. And the thing is about the old Star Trek shows, they were trying to show elements of that in one form or another. Let that be your last battlefield, where you had two races, they both had something wrong with the face. Not a hand stuck on their face, but on one side it would be light, or the light might be on the other side. And that side that wasn't light would be either black on that side or black on that side. And they fought each other to the death, to the last two people, at the end of that story. Because they couldn't stand the differences. They couldn't stand differences. They had to be the same. And there was other shows saying the same damn thing. Where differences could not be explored. And you had one great race called originally the Vulcanians, but just switched to Vulcans. And according to the character bios, to the history of it, they lived a lot longer, and they had their own race wars, and they almost killed themselves One guy was trying to show them logic. They slowly build from the ashes into a world of logic, despite the cultural differences that they had, and also physical differences. They thought about the infinite diversity and infinite combinations, which means the universe is infinite and diverse. But do you think, from these closet people that we keep running into, who wanted DEI and wokeism out at all costs because they can't deal with it, can they not deal in one particular sense or outrage that in our own solar system that we have diverse forms of planets and planetoids. We have various forms of rock. We have water. We have gas. We have large planets and small planets. We have one that's getting cooked by the sun like crazy. It's still floating around without it floating into the sun yet. We got another planet that actually had atmosphere a long time ago, but lost it. That's hot as hell, gaseous as hell, and it's hell. And then we got Earth, and beyond that we got Mars. Mars being used to be, theoretically, we can't prove it, but we're trying to prove it, that it actually had life. Elements to form life. Elements to have life on it. That's why we keep sending our tinker toys over there, just to scratch around and see what's going on. Then unfortunately, because we got budget cuts right now, we can't even get a satellite to retrieve samples, bring it back over to Earth to examine. No, because we can't do that. We need to capture and round up people because they're different. We need to send them to other places because they're different. In Star Trek lore, before we got to the point of actually having aliens helping us out for nearly 100 years, we had to have our own wars of eugenics, making super people out of test tubes. And we also had to have nuclear war. And because of the suffering that humanity had put itself upon, they had to learn how to get themselves, they had to learn how to deal with themselves. They started developing spaceships to go into space, capturing aliens' attention, and then over about 100 years, develop warp technology to go into the stars and discover that the universe is not really what they think about. And it's our writers here on Earth that for over 60 years have been generating so many material, so much material, what we think, what we feel, what we're trying to impress upon our own youth and our older generations. That maybe the universe is wondrous, but we're also learning more through through real science, and not science fiction, that it's going to take us a lot longer to get out there to explore it than we're willing to do here. We keep thinking we want to make Earth a paradise. We can't make Earth a paradise if we got two things going. Our constant need of resources that we're draining like crazy and ruining, and our egos that are at a high rate. We're not doing it. I'm hearing the other scientists going back and forth on this one. I'm hearing the politicians arguing back and forth on this one. We're not there yet. And we're not going to be there, not for a long while. Not unless something major cataclysmic happens that brings everyone else together to really make the world rebuilt, and hopefully sustainable. Because if not, we're screwed. We're screwed. Let the Stephen Millers bitch and gripe about what they think they know. They don't know shit from Shinola. They haven't demonstrated it, produced anything. They don't care. They just want to bitch and bellyache. Let them bitch and bellyache. They got the right, their freedom to bitch and bellyache all they want. Doesn't mean I have to listen, agree, or anything about them. I can only say, live long and prosper. One thing about this, it was said in interviews with Leonard Nimoy, who played Spock in the original series, and his faith was Jewish. And as a young age, he was listening to the blessings, benedictions from the leaders. And he managed to turn around when he wasn't supposed to, and he saw this. The hands in this kind of an angle. So he decided to bring it over to Gene Roddenberry as an adult and say, why can't the Vulcans do this? And just say, live long and prosper. Legend grew. Keep that in with you guys. I'm warping out of here. I still got to deal with Shield Must Be Obeyed. If I can get this damn thing to work.